What's going on YouTube? KoD Foot here, bringing you another episode of KoD Foot Talks. I mentioned it last video on Tuesday, but I'm going to go ahead and plug it again. It's been a while since I've had to plug anything, so it's kind of feeling old school, I guess. Whatever. But KoD Faz, he's got a new series coming out every Sunday. It's going to be a challenge series. I'm really excited about it. I think it's going to be really cool. Basically, you challenge him to use any gun in any game mode from any KoD. I think World at War up, maybe MW1 up. I'm not sure what games he has. But shoot him a message, leave a comment below, get him on Twitter, whatever you gotta do. Challenge him, and let's see how many kills he can get with whatever gun you choose. But let's go ahead and get started into it. Everybody is, well, not everybody, but everybody that went through high school at least has been labeled at least one point in their life. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Today, I'm talking about labels. So, in high school, I was labeled a goth. I was labeled a burnout. I was labeled a loner. I was never labeled popular or a jock. I was labeled a nerd. You know, I'm sure a lot of people out there probably got about the same, from different classmates. You had your different sections, I guess you could call them. You label the sections. It makes it easier for you to, determine who's who and what groups people roll with. So you basically, the basic labels that you had your jocks, your brainiacs, your stoners, your goths, your glee kids or your chorus kids or your band kids. They all normally ran together. Your prisses, your princesses, and your preps. That was the main labels in high school. And I'm sure it's gotten worse now as people are, society in a whole is becoming a lot more, I guess, politically correct, but at the same time, we're labeling things more than we ever have. So each of those different labels gets broken down into sub-labels. Now you've got your gays, which, that's a thing now. When I was in high school, there weren't too many openly gay kids. But, if I was in high school now, I'm sure there would be a subgenre of student called gay. And, not that there's anything wrong with being gay. It's just that, people, especially high schoolers, are rude and they're kind of to the point. And if you're not in with their clique, it's, ew, I don't hang out with the stoners. Or, ew, I don't hang out with the nerds. I don't hang out with the jocks, And that's how it was back when I was in school, If you were a burnout or a goth kid, you probably hung out together and you looked down on the jocks. If you were a jock, you hung out with the prissy bitches and the preppies and things like that. Everybody kind of clicks up, and that goes into real life, Now that I've grown and I'm more of an adult, you don't really have the jock label or the stoner label or, the goth label. But you get your hard worker label, your slacker label, your worthless piece of shit label. When you get older, you get different labels. But I guess I'm probably going to focus more on high school in this video. So yeah, I was a goth. I wore all black clothing. I wore chains from all my pants. I had spiked collars, spiked bracelets. I dyed my hair multiple colors. I was also labeled, I guess you could call it, a freak. That was another popular term that I heard quite a bit through high school. I had the gauged out ears. I had multicolored hair. I wore, God, it pains me to even say it. I wore guy liner. I painted my fingernails. I was fucking weird, and instead of people accepting me for me and looking past the way that I dressed or the way that I looked, people always want to just associate that because you look that way that you are a certain way, or because you dress a certain way that you are a certain way, or because you're built and you work out and you're athletic that instantly you're a jock and you have no brains. or say you come from a rich family and you dress a little nicer, your clothes are new, you drive a nice car, you're instantly called a prep. And that it's kind of fucked up, but it's the way society is. It's the way the world has always been. We look at people that are different than us and we judge them based solely off the way that they look. They say the first impressions last a lifetime, but sometimes you're judged before you even get to make that impression. Before you even get to say hello to somebody, they're looking at you and judging you off of a visual impression instead of a personal impression. And it's not right, but it is what it is. There's nothing that you can really do about it. And I'm guilty of it. Everybody that's listening to this video right now, everybody that's watching this video, everybody that's not watching this video is guilty of it. You have judged somebody based solely off the way that they look. If they, dress better than you, you instantly assume that they're richer than you. And, coming from a poorer side of town, I didn't like people that were richer than me. I was jealous that they had more money than me. I was jealous that they could go on vacations that I couldn't go on, that their parents were able to buy them brand new cars. Prime example. So I'm sitting in class, 12th grade year, and I've been sitting, it was homeroom and then first period were the same, classroom and everything. And there was this girl who I had been sitting next to the entire year. It's about 3/4 of the way through the year, and we've been sitting next to each other the whole time, never said a word to each other. And one day, she says, "Why don't you ever talk to me?" And without missing a beat, I looked at her and I said, "It's because you're a preppy bitch and fuck you." And, she took offense to it, as she should have, and it was rude of me to say it. But then she asked me, "Well, why do you think that I'm a preppy bitch?" And I said, "What car did your dad buy you for your 16th birthday?" And she said, "An Audi." And I told her to never speak to me again. I didn't give her a chance to get to know her. I didn't really care to know her because of the people that she associated with, the way that she carried herself, the way that she, just had this persona about her that, could have been completely different than who she was. She could have been a really nice person. Could have turned out that we could have been best friends. But because of the fact that she came from money, that she hung out with jocks, that she hung out with, people that weren't necessarily smart, but they were popular, because her parents bought her a brand new car, I labeled her as a prep. I labeled her as a prissy bitch, and I wanted nothing to do with her. And I, sank back down into my chair. I put my headphones in. I drowned out life into music, and I went back to being a typical loner. And, that's just who I was in high school. And there was a lot of, jocks. I got picked on by a lot of jocks because I'm not a very athletic guy. I can't run very fast. I am asthmatic. I feel like I'm going to pass out if I run half a mile. I can't even tell you the last time that I walked half a mile without bitching about it. So, me being a slightly overweight, asthmatic, goth, loner kid, I got picked on a lot by the jocks. And, they always wanted to fight me because for some reason that proved that they were better than me, that they were stronger than me. And, they labeled me as a goth, which made me instantly a weakling. It's all in how the label is. Like, it's weird. It really, really is weird. If you're a jock, you're automatically thought to be strong. But I know some jocks that they're fast, they can run, but they're not strong. If you're a goth kid, you're thought to be weak. But I know some goth kids that could bench press 350 pounds. It's stereotypes, I guess, is what it is. And, when people say the word stereotype, you think of race instantly. As soon as you say the word stereotype, you think black people and fried chicken and watermelon, Asians and not being able to drive, women not being able to drive, Indians, Pakistani people, I'm not really sure the exact term there, you think doctors, Native Americans, you think peace pipes and sitting in tents and shit. So the labels in high school were stereotypes not based off of race, but strictly based off of how you carried yourself and who you hung out with. And, I don't regret who I hung out with, and I don't regret who I didn't hang out with, because I'm me because of the choices that I made back then. But at the same time, had I opened myself up and not judged someone solely based off of the car that they drove or the amount of money that was in their parents' bank account, I might have a lot more friends now. I might have a completely different set of friends now, and I may be a completely different person now. So you just gotta think about that, and don't judge a book by its cover too quickly. But this video is getting ready to wrap up. Leave a like, leave a comment below. I want to know what label you've been given. And until next time, I'm KoD Foot. Later.